Sending out does have a subtle effect on the environment around you, and therefore anger is a waste of time. It's not helping. Feelings of love and compassion, I think, do help. You know, as corny as that may sound, I think it does help. It does change the environment for the better, slowly, imperceptibly, but it does. And so that I have time for, not anger.
Stress and fast food, mortgages and working just to pay the bills. Bonnie Mallon was vice president at Urban Outfitters in Philadelphia. She decided there must be a better way.
It was a great company, but they definitely find ways to take, you know, more than you can give. Work came first. That's how it became for me. It was easy to lose myself out there and just do. Just be in a do mentality. This represents freedom to me, and through freedom I think, you know, love, reconnecting with my relationship too. I had a tough time for a little while. I was never home, and that can be okay, because we really enjoyed seeing each other when I got back. But you never get into anything really heavy, just let's stay surface. This kind of catapults a spiritual awakening for me, a time where I could be silent.
A pretty arid 50 acres in East Texas. Now she wants to talk about it.
We are a lot more relaxed here than we ever have been. All of us. We were all very quiet, very stressed, insular kind of people in New York. And everybody has loosened up and come out of their shell here. And it's really just, you know, it feels like home here where we were meant to be. And it's a much more peaceful life here. People are very shallow, consumerist, materialistic. Most families don't even sit down and have dinner together anymore. They barely know each other. People just don't seem to believe in anything anymore. I just remember working 20-hour days to come up with it. Yeah. If I was a millionaire, I really wouldn't go on grid. There's too many of us to keep living the way we're living and still have anything left of our planet, really.
We've been having a clear out here, and we're intending to fill the whole of this with logs cut now during the dry, hot summer. It's the ideal time to do it, so then they dry up and they're ready for using in the winter. But they are logs from our own farm. We also have a log shed down there that's usually filled to the brim with logs, ready for the winter store. But it's all a part of the recycling process. It's just simply logs that we produce on the farm, we burn, and then we keep on growing more, you know, so we're not using anything that's being destroyed. It's all being renewed all the time. Smaller timbers in between are cut halfway through and laid down in a certain way so that they will grow again. You can probably see, actually, if you look in, it's amazing how quickly it's growing, but you can see the horizontal twigs there. Those were all upright bushes last summer, and they're now laying down horizontally. And already, in the space of a few months, you have all this new growth coming up. So it's completely rejuvenated the whole hedge, and you'll have masses of thick growth again, like the one on the other side. So it's a completely renewable recycling process. I'm in the process of trying to landscape this back garden, which was a colossal mess when we moved up here. So building steps and stone walls and concreting and so on, it all helps to keep you fit. And we all grow all our own vegetables. I buy very few vegetables, so there again, your vegetables are free most of the year round. It's one of the privileges of not having to work so hard now for an income, because our bills are so much less. I mean, apart from council tax and a little bit drop of diesel, our household bills are almost non-existent.
When I moved to Manhattan, I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I was the shit. And they're going to become a fashion photographer, and I loved it. And then after a while of being in the super fashion world, it was like, you know, there's a lot more to life than what the new black is going to be, and or you know what shade to wear in springtime, and I just got fed up with it. So I've only had really one full-time real job that lasted 3 years. When I first came to New York, I worked in a catalog studio just shooting fashion, you know, day after day. It was like a factory. And since then, though, I've been pretty much freelance, and I can't imagine like having a full-time job, 9 to 5, you know, wait for the weekend, you know, take your 2 weeks vacation, and you know, the last day of the vacation, you're like, fuck, I gotta go back to work. And then I decided, you know, I want to move to the country now. And after 7 years, though, it's just like, you know, I'm still not far enough away. I just figured, you know, this is kind of, you know, it's not cold, it's super cheap to buy property. It's not super cheap to live here because you got to drive 60 miles, you know, to Alpine and stuff. But if you're smart, it can be a really cheap place to live.
People have freedom. Basically, we are set up to be slaves, and so
Conway had a book written about him called The Last American Man.
the government doesn't want people to have freedom. Basically, we are set up to be slaves. The government doesn't want people to have freedom. Basically, we are set up to be slaves. And so growing food is empowerment, even if it's not on your land. It could be state land, federal land, or it could be on your own land. I prefer growing it on my own land.
I basically had a big road atlas, and I had decided I wanted to live in a place no more than 2,500 people. So that immediately kind of like, you know, the smallest dots. There's a lot of different small communities. There are small communities that are very welcoming. This is one of them. I only lived in a truck, so I didn't have rent, car payments. I did all my business over my cell phone as a modem, you know, as my internet. I love truck stops. Everything's 12 volt, TVs with VCRs, DVDs. You can rent audiobooks. It's really quite amazing.
The land is not very large here, as you can see, but it stretches up more or less to those trees at the back, and then across here to the river, which is known as the Tinker Burn. All of this area will be under cultivation. Some raised beds, some normal, some polytunnels on some, and a small greenhouse. So we want to have many different kinds of vegetable growing systems and many kinds of energy generation systems as well. Solar panels, perhaps some wind if we think there's enough wind, and a micro hydro system in the waterfall just upstream from here.
The spot feels very calm, it feels very sheltered, very protected, and very safe. I don't know why, it just does. If you'd like to come in, this is going to be the communal area. This will be the place where most of the volunteers sleep most of the time.
It has to do with get something from the shops. I know we're trying to imagine what life might be like if civilization has collapsed, but of course civilization hasn't collapsed yet, and in the process we won't be entirely self-sufficient, not even by the end of the experiment.
The guy with no ID, the Englishman, so they objected to my being released for that reason. I was British and I didn't have any ID, so that I must be a terrorist. You know, you got me on file, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Because I don't have it. You got the right to lock me up and fucking, you know who I am. You've identified me. Well, now I've established that I'm a legal resident alien. I got a poem. They didn't even... It says, "Oh, he sees himself in his own mind in grim parody, standing legs spread, feet firmly planted, bent at the waist, hands palm down against the floor, buck naked, both anally and orally mind-fucked by those who want to own me. You know, the you wills, the thou shalts, the live for me's, the die for me's, power politics, mass education, organised religion, and societal imposition. The poet in self-defence girds his loins in the steel chastity belt of cynicism. Guard your orify with great care, lest some insidious bastard slips in there and fucks you yet again." Right, that's what I think about it all. Answers all questions, you know what I'm saying? Because we've got too much imposition And unless we all realise that power of self and realise that we're being mind-fucked forever, we're just going to be part of the grid.
A ranch that was doing well. I was an outfitter getting people coming for trips all over the world. I had my water and timber mineral rights. I was very self-sufficient down there. I can do almost anything, so basically I bought the land and put the whole ranch together over a period of time. And then, of course, my personal assets of all my outfitting equipment and everything else is worth well over $1 million. And I was run off of my ranch at gunpoint. They took my property. I've got no equity out of it. They stole my water and timber mineral rights, even though they were separated as personal property in my own name. Now the people in Arizona are keeping all my personal property, even though it's exempt. And so I don't have my working tools anymore. I can't make my living. But as I said before, I can do many things, but to keep my animals going, I'm forced into this position of poverty right now. I have actually a degree from New Mexico Highlands University in molecular biology and genetics, and I have another degree from the University of New Mexico in biology, chemistry, and anthropology. I'm self-taught in the courts. I could probably even pass the bar at this point. I've been in every court in the United States over a period of 15 years. But the situation here has forced me into the situation that I'm in to live this way. And as I said before, I'd be better off in a communist or a third world country. Because the system has failed. The law has failed, the Constitution has failed. None of this should ever happen to me at all. I shouldn't be in this position in this country. And yet I'm 60 years old. I can't start over again to get what they've taken away from me.